Hi everyone, it's Keren here with a mixed media art collage for 7 Dot Studios as an ode to Frida Kahlo. This is for the 7 Dot Studio Challenge, and the theme this month was to create something about your favorite artist. Frida Kahlo is one of my favorite artists because she had so much courage to be who she wanted to be and persevered and succeeded in a world where people told her she couldn't. The way she expresses her emotions and feelings in her art are unlike any other artist. And I finally get to create something, even though it's my style, something as an ode to her and the amazing person she was. As a substrate, I used the Canson Mixed Media Artboard. I printed a Frida Kahlo black and white photo in my laser printer and then took Prima Finnabair soft matte gel medium and added it to the front of the face where it was printed. This is the easiest way to do a gel transfer, and it worked perfectly. And just to let you know, it was my first time trying it, so I'm really happy with the results, even though it was my first time. So all you do is you put it on. You put enough that it will cover the front, and then I took a credit card, or an old credit card or hotel card. I think, oh, this is an iTunes card actually. And I started pulling and flattening everything so there's no bubbles. So I flattened, as you can see I made a mistake, but I flattened it so all the glue flattens up in the underneath the picture. And then I let this dry for 24 hours. Then the next day I came with my spray bottle, and all I did is I started spraying it, and as you spray it, the top layer starts coming off. It's really important to know not to put any gel on top of the laser print once you are putting it on the surface. You want to put it at the bottom, like facing down, but make sure you don't put any on top. Otherwise, when you come to do this step that I'm doing right now with the water, it creates a barrier and you won't be able to remove the paper that is left over. I printed this on a regular printer paper, and just it's important also to note that you're going to get a mirror image of the image that you chose. So it basically flips on its own, right? Because you're putting it upside down. So I continue working. You want to be very careful that you don't rub too hard so it doesn't remove the image from underneath. But it is a little bit of work. My fingers did get a good workout by doing this, and you just continue until you finish. It's good to use the water in small areas, so just spray a small area, then go ahead and remove the paper, and then continue with the next small area. Here I finished the face, and then I'm going with the body. I like the way I could have just stuck this and used kind of like a decoupage style and stuck the image, cut it out and stuck it to the background, and I did cut it out around the whole face. But I think that what's nice about the transfer is that it looks kind of distressed, and as I love distress so much, I really like the way it turned out. So I'm really happy with the result. But if you don't want to do the gel transfer, then just go ahead and cut off the image, and you just use gel both at the bottom and at the top, and you just glue it as if it was decoupage. You don't have to, you're collaging it instead of actually creating a gel transfer. So I'm almost done here, and I was really happy with how she turned out, and then I was ready to embellish. I took the 7 Dot Studio Hazy Days paper called Oil Spil, And I actually thought I was going to gel transfer it somehow on top of the other area. And I started kind of cutting pieces and outlining the leftover image that I had cut out to kind of get the outline around the face. And I started basically, I wanted to cut it roughly with my hands because I wanted to get that distressed look. I actually thought that I would get this really nice brownish design if I was going to do gel transfer. So what I did is I started gluing the other side to the background to outline the head of Frida Kahlo. And then I realized that I had not cut it properly, and so I just winged it and started creating extra pieces all around, and that was what I ended up doing. I ended up collaging around her body and just trying to kind of fill in the empty spaces with a nice ripped areas because I really wanted it distressed. So that was a good way of doing that, and I didn't end up actually gel transferring it. I ended up just using my soft matte gel from Prima Finnabair and just gluing it all around. I really I would have liked to have the brown part around it, but once I glued it, I realized that the paper might have been too thick for me to try to gel transfer it because you need a thinner paper to kind of remove the top layer. So I actually looked at what I had done, and I guess it was meant to be because I really liked the grayish distressed part of the other side of the paper. So it actually ended up looking really good, and I was really happy with the results. So I didn't gel transfer. I just basically sealed everything and made sure that all the bubbles are out and glued it as collage style, kind of like decoupage, around Frida Kahlo. I could have, as I said, done Frida also this way, but I really wanted to try the gel transfer technique. I wanted to try it for a long time, so this was the perfect time to actually do this. The next step is basically adding some texture, and I took some Prima Finnabair 3D matte gel and mixed it with half a tub of the bronze microbeads. This created a very thick texturized paste using the gel, and once the gel dries clear, all you get is the bronze microbeads stuck in that pattern. And I used this homegrown 7 Dot Studio stencil to create kind of like ethereal sunburst on top of Frida Kahlo's head. So I went and I did it in both sides because I really kind of imagined the type of paintings that she used to make, and they were just really ethereal and very they had so much feeling and so many things going on. They kind of look wild, they're like in the jungle, I don't know. So I really was kind of inspired by her, but I still had to keep to my own style. I also took the writer's block stencil from 7 Dot Studio that has kind of numbers, and still use this thick gel that I had created with the microbeads to create a little bit of that nice texture. I just want to point out that an old tub of the 3D matte gel I use because I don't want to contaminate my newer tub. So what I do is I keep this one on the side whenever I want to mix microbeads or any other type of things in it. And then I just mix it all together and I'm able to use it without contaminating anything. And once that was dry, as you can see here, it really created this really nice brown bronze looking pattern in the background. Then I started embellishing around the head or the crown of Frida Kahlo. I used one of the barnstorms from Prima marketing from Finnabair and some Prima marketing flowers. And then I chose white flowers so I could kind of paint them any way I want them. And then I took some more metal embellishments. Some of them are from the mechanicals from Finnabair, and some of them I've gotten on eBay. And I basically just started playing around and experimenting and to see how I would like it to look. I used the heavy gel from Prima Finnabair to stick all the embellishments so they would stay really well together, especially the metals that are hard to stick. The branches, they have very few points where you can actually stick things on. That's why the gel is the best one. I also, instead of the flower, I put a little pebble on top. This is also from Prima Finnabair because these are plastic pebbles and they're called melange. They're perfect to kind of decorate and embellish things. So I started gluing everything and moving things around until I was happy with the way they look. After gluing it, I had this idea that I really wanted this to be very colorful, very similar to how Frida Kahlo's paintings were, with a lot of colors, kind of that Mexican folk art to kind of come through. And I initially chose 3 colors, yellow, blue, and red, to color in the flowers. And you will see that actually did not happen. And in the next frame, you're going to see that I actually ended up tearing the flowers apart and putting new ones. So the flowers in the next frame will look different because I'm not showing this, but I'm telling you that I did not like it. It wasn't my style and I couldn't move on from the step of, after I painted all the flowers in the different colors, I didn't know what else to do. I was kind of stuck. So I knew I had to kind of revert to my own style and what I like to do. And that's what I did. And you'll see in the next step, I'm painting them in a different color, which is kind of my style and how I like things to be. Here, I'm going to use a paintbrush to just kind of clean all the extra gel that is around. Otherwise it becomes too thick. So this is a good technique to use when you're gluing things, just to clean the edges with the gel. Just use a little paintbrush and kind of smush it all around until you get it all blended. So not sure if you noticed or not, but here the flowers are a little bit differently. I went back and put them more or less the way they were, but I didn't have the same amount of flowers, so I went to my stash and grabbed some other white flowers. And then I took the Color Bloom spray from Prima. This is Glistening Waves, and I really wanted to be a very aqua in color, very deep in color. So I ended up putting my paintbrush inside the actual tub and even sometimes just spilling it on because I really wanted that mica to kind of come through and really color the flowers well. So I didn't have a lot in the tub left. I didn't have a lot in the bottle. So I just figured I might as well just kind of dump it on and just use it. And I knew that if I would spray, the mixture wouldn't come out as strongly in terms of the color and the mica that was in it. And I really wanted these flowers to really represent that patina kind of look. So that's why I used the Glistening Waves for it. Then I took the Prima Marketing Finnabair Rust Paste, this is the red color, and started adding it around the edges of my canvas using, oh sorry, it's an artboard, but I started using a paintbrush and just adding it really roughly. I really like to add rough texture around because it makes it look more realistic and more distressed, which is the look I like. And that's why I knew that I couldn't do colorful because that's just not my style. I also added the red rust paste on top of some of the embellishments and in between the flowers to just add a little bit of that rusted look in between the embellishments. Then I took the gold rust paste from the same set and just added some of the golden highlights on the edges as well and in some of the other areas. I just really wanted to have both of those mixed up because they really add to that rusted look. Then, so I could match the flowers, I added the mint green from the Patina paste set from Prima Finnabair and just added it again in the edges and in some of the embellishments, and when they mixed with the red rust and the gold rust, they really create that beautiful effect that I love, which is that rusted effect, and that's what I was going for, and I was really happy how everything blended together. If you notice, I also matched the music to this project by using a Spanish sound music. It's not specifically Mexican, but it just helped with the theme and the feeling of what I was going for. After I add light colors, I always feel like I have to add darker colors. And this time I took my alcohol ink teak wood color and basically created a border. I find that balancing between the darker colors and the light colors in a canvas or in any project makes a big difference in how things turn out at the end. So I use the teak wood color to just go around and create a dark border. And you'll see that I keep on adding light and dark colors until I'm happy with the results. When you're using alcohol inks, make sure you either clean your surface right away or you use something underneath so it doesn't stain, because they tend to stain the mat really badly. So I want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So I put a paper towel around it. Then I took the ginger color and I started painting it in the center of the flowers and in some other areas to create that rusted look again. So I added it to some of the embellishments and the flowers, and that brought everything kind of together. Then I took a mechanical butterfly from Prima and another little bottle cap that says art on it, and I placed it inside the heart locket that is also mechanical from Prima Finnabair. And of course I glued it all into the background. I really love that it's kind of like a butterfly heart that she has. I love putting that heart in the middle because it really signifies her huge artsy art heart that she has, and the word heart also has the word art in it, so I think it's just really cool, the pun that I intended in it. I took the brass art alchemy wax from Prima Finnabair and now started adding highlights in all the darker areas. So I added it in the borders, I added it in all the embellishments, and even in the center of the flowers. That way, as you can see, the dark and the light, I keep on adding dark and light throughout the project to be able to get the look I want. Here I am again adding a few more darker highlights after adding the wax, and this is the ginger color from the alcohol inks from Ranger. And again, I'm doing a very thin layer here, but if it spills, that's okay because it adds to that distressed look. And I do like when it does that and when it spills a little bit, but mainly I'm trying to add a very thin layer around. So I'm just going back and forth, as I said, between the dark layers and the light layers. Finally, I took the liquid pearls and added a few dots here and there. This is the matching color. I think it's the turquoise or aqua. I'm not sure the exact name, but I will list everything in the description area below because I can't remember the name of this specific one. The last thing I did is added a title. This is a word sticker from the Hazy Days collection from 7 Dot Studio, and it says "Be a Dreamer," because Frida Kahlo really was a dreamer, and she basically dreamed all her paintings and made them a reality. And even though she was a cripple and a woman living in a male-dominant society, she was able to surpass it all and become an amazing artist, and her paintings are admired by everyone nowadays. Thank you so much for watching. For more inspiration, subscribe to my channel or visit me on my website. Bye!